I'm Rohit, and I'm here with Yaroslav, who's the co-founder and CEO of Petcube. And I'm gonna read the Petcube bio because it's pretty long. So Petcube is a leading company that sells pet cameras to pet owners in the US primarily. Their products have been very highly rated, and they have won many awards, including the prestigious Webby Award in 2017. Petcube has sold hundreds of thousands of cameras, and it got started in 2013 by Alex, Andre, and Yaroslav. And Petcube has raised more than $14 million in equity from Y Combinator, Almas Capital, A Ventures Capital, and Cabra.vc. Did I get everything?
That's right. Yeah.
Cool. Welcome.
Thanks.
Thanks for talking to us. So let's just start from your background. You are originally from Ukraine. Tell us a little bit about how it was growing up there, colleges that you went to, and how they shaped your experience in being in the tech industry.
Sure. Yeah. Born and raised in Kiev, Ukraine, which is the capital. It's a pretty large city. About 45 million people live there. So much larger than San Francisco. Can't complain. I come out of a family of scientists. So my parents are linguists. My grandparents are physicists and economics, English literature professors. So I guess that was really kind of that background is an important formative piece for me, and how I was growing up, even before school, I was kind of thinking about things. And parents are definitely role models for me. But it was, growing up, seemed like science is a very cool thing to do. But in the 90s, after the collapse of Soviet Union, the economy wasn't in a great state in those countries in Eastern Europe. Was inspired by entrepreneurs and reading books and reading things like Jules Verne's and about people, doing something out of nothing, or the Robinson, Crusoe, all of those kind of books. So kind of figured pretty early on I would like to create things and be an entrepreneur. And then got acquainted with computers when I was probably 4 years old.
Okay.
I got pretty lucky. It was like 1994 or 5. Kind of figured, okay, if you create software, there's something you can create as one person, and then millions of other people can use it. That's pretty impactful, pretty cool. I went on to get my educations in applied mathematics in Kiev Polytechnic Institute, which was co-founded by Dmitry Mendeleev, by the way, and also gave folks like Igor Sikorsky, the mentor of helicopter. So really good educational institution. Enjoyed my time there. Really loved the math and physics and kind of calculus, all those things. Programming, really solid background in terms of data structure, algorithms, all that kind of stuff. And started doing things pretty early on, I guess. And parallel with my third year of university education, started doing businesses and started an NGO actually to educate other people about the possibilities of social media and the internet. It was called Internet Initiatives. So it was really young kid, it was 18, 17 years old. And also made a website about contemporary arts and culture, another passion of mine, and started an agency that would be doing social media marketing and website development, stuff like that. It was 2008 or something like that. It was a hot topic back then. They really liked that business, sold that out to then largest agency in Ukraine, and started thinking about what's next. And around that time, met my co-founders, and we started Petcube.
Got it. And did you finish your college, or did you try?
I did finish my college. I was pretty bad in finishing my college last year. So basically, I got my bachelor, and this is 4 years. And then for master's, you did another 2 years, and basically you have to finish your master's paper. So I was late with my master's paper for a couple of days, and they would not allow me to defend it. And they told me you'll have to stay for another year to do this.
Oh, okay.
And so basically all my classmates were out, and I basically had to just wait for another year just to come and like defend the very same paper that I had ready just a couple weeks ago. So it was whatever.
What did you do during that year? Were you like exploring business ideas?
I was running like three things at the time. So I was running an NGO, I was running this digital advertising agency, and I was running this website of contemporary arts and culture.
Right.
I'm trying to study at the same time. Crazy times.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And when you started Petcube, was it in Ukraine or did you start it in the US?
Yeah, so the way we started Petcube, I think this is actually 2012, end of 2012, we started the company. So my co-founder, Alex, and he's our CTO. He, had a dog that was barking all the time when Alex was not at home. So he built this camera, added a laser pointer on two certain monitors to play with his dog remotely and watch after him when he's not at home. Showed that to his friends. Everyone was like, "Well, this is really cool. I would like this thing to be on the shelves, and I love to buy this." So we sat down. We kind of started thinking, okay, is it just a product, or is there a way to build a business around this? And what we realized is that there was a really big market for pet care that has not seen any like digital innovation, and pretty much any kind of product like a feeder you can buy for your dog looks like something out of the 70s or 80s, something you just plug in an outlet, but no smarts, no internet, no mobile, and also not sexy, just like gray plastic, not cool, not something you want to have in your home. And so we figured, okay, there's really an opportunity to build this kind of digital first brand that would leverage all the opportunities technology gives us to help us keep connected with our pets and contribute to better lives with our pets and so on. So that was the thesis, how we started this company. We were kind of thinking, okay, if we can connect, essentially this camera is like a smartphone for your dog. It connects your dog to the internet. So if you can connect millions of dogs and cats to the internet, and then build a platform on top of that, use the data to improve other third-party services, then this really potentially good business. And from day one, we all life in big city. I'm pretty sure it's true for every city in the world. If you live in megapolis, if you are lucky to be born there, it's the further we go in time, the more similar it is between New York, Kiev, Delhi, Antananarivo, wherever you go in the world, all these big capitals. People watch the same YouTube shows, they read the same TechCrunch if you're in tech and so on. So we were reading TechCrunch, reading some books about the roots of the technology revolution and so on, and figuring, all right, if we build this technology company that is innovative on a global level, we gotta be in the Bay Area, right? Because this is where the capital of innovation is. At least it was in 2012. I'm less sure about this now. There are a couple of interesting centers like China, super interesting.
Right.
But we figured, okay, we will be there, and we figured we have to incorporate the Delaware company and all that. So we basically went by this classical startup route.
Okay, so you started in Ukraine.
Started in Ukraine, and we spent a year in Ukraine. The man actually went to an accelerator in China. It was a hardware-based accelerator. So it was run by some European guys, but happening in Shenzhen, to figure out how we're going to manufacture this. Right. And then the demo day for that accelerator was here in San Francisco, and we knew that after we go through that accelerator, we move here, we open office here, we start hiring people here.
And what's the name of the accelerator? This was quite interesting.
It was HACS.
HACKS.
HAX.
HAX, okay.
Yeah. So they are, till this moment, they are world's largest hardware-focused accelerator, and I think they're one of the world's largest seed investors.
Okay.
Period. They're invested in hundreds of companies. They're really big.
And hardware-focused or everything?
This is like a group of accelerators. There's this VC fund called SOS Ventures that stands behind them, and they call themselves accelerator VCs. And they own basically Hacks, which is hardware accelerator, and then they have a biotech accelerator as well, and then they have some software thing in China for China-focused companies. Maybe something else.
Yeah, it's very cool. I've never heard of them. Cool. And I just wanted to sort of touch upon how did you meet your co-founder? Like, were you in college together, or did you come together after you started Petcube during the founding team?
No, I think that's very important, and I have the most amazing co-founders. We worked together from the start, and we're still together, and like everyone's still like kicking, and we have like
you still like each other.
We really enjoy each other, like spending time with each other and like kind of managing each other. So the way we met, so there's Andre, who's a chief marketing officer, chief design officer, Alex, who's a chief technology officer, and myself, I'm the CEO. And Andre and I met long time ago. It was like 2006. 12 years ago, even earlier, maybe like 13 years ago. And we met on online forum.
Okay.
Those things, forums.
Yeah.
You remember those. Not all of our viewers might remember, but basically we were discussing, it was the forum of one Ukrainian singer and artist.
Okay.
And was just a place where creative people would flock and exchange their ideas, and like people would post their drawings or poetry or like conceptual photography art.
Right.
So Andre was the sickest, the coolest poet I ever read. I was so in love with his poetry that I wanted to meet him in person. And back in the day where people would meet online, they would try to then go offline. Right. Like we had one of those parties, and that's what I met Andre for the first time. And we started hanging out. At some point, he switched his art side from the poetry to visual arts. And then at some point, I was going into like web design, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to, make a web design for a website?" And so like, "Yeah, sure, why not? I can do exactly anything, right?" And his approach to design was always like very kind of independently thinking, and like the stuff he would create, I consider that to be years ahead. And that was later on many times confirmed. So really liked working with him. It was like I can't say I liked working with him.
You liked his work.
I liked his work, but working with him was super hard. It's like how it is with designers, and especially when you're like 18-year-olds, you're like really radical in your views. And I was like, I'm doing look, I really don't like this and this, and like, how about this? And he's like, no, we're not doing that. Why? Because that is shit. Okay, not sure how I'm supposed to argue with that.
So he was very straightforward, very honest.
He was straightforward, and but we figure out how to work with each other, and I think that's very important. Like, all the people are really different, but I think you would appreciate the difference. And then multiple times, the differences between us would actually be helpful, if not like life-changing for Petcube as a company. Right. That's how I met Andre, and we worked together with that online advertising agency we run. And then when our agency was acquired by the biggest Ukrainian digital advertising boutique, that's where we met Alex, the CTO, and Alex and I were also like really conflicted in the early days, because both Alex and I kind of supposedly we knew how to make websites, and like how to design them, was like what the layout should look like, what the user experience should look like. And apparently, our views on that were different. Okay. And when Alex would offer something, I would very publicly criticize him, which is the wrong thing to do, as I learned later. Criticize someone, talk in private. Why did it? I was like, yeah. So we were pretty much confronted for the first months of our acquaintance. And then with time, I kind of grew very appreciated by how Alex approaches his work and how he's capable of doing multiple things with very short timelines and so on. He's doing this hacker approach. And then at some point when basically Alex suggested three of us to come together and start this company, like when we're considering this, the fact that we are pretty different but share some kind of common values and worldview, that was a really important fact. And I also think that if there was only Alex and I would probably have not partnered. But since there was Andre, and I really enjoyed working with Andre, and I had previous experience. And with Alex, I didn't have previous experience, but I respected him for other things. I thought it would be like, yeah, this is a good balancing act. We have complementary skills. So that's how we started.
So now you have known Alex for like more than 10 years and Andre for more than 12.
Yeah, Alex for probably 9 years.
9 or 10 years. That's cool. So you got together, you started Petcube. First you went to China for the accelerator, then you moved to the US.
Yeah.
Did you start Y Combinator right after you moved, or was
no? It took us a while. I actually, it took us maybe like 2 years to get accepted to YC. So we only were accepted on our 4th application.
Oh, so you applied 4 times?
Yes.
Cool. But when you moved initially, how were you managing things? Because you moved presumably without any strong network, either in the Bay Area or New York or anywhere else. So
I had one friend in San Bruno. He allowed us to crush in his couch. Super grateful.
and just to add some more context, had you raised more money outside of the accelerator when you moved here, or?
So during our time at Hacks, we ran a Kickstarter campaign.
Okay.
And it was actually really funny because we were here for a couple weeks during our demo day at Hacks, and our fundraising on Kickstarter just closed on those days. So I remember very vividly how all three of us were here, how we went to the ATM to withdraw the last $3,000 from the account so that we have some money to buy food.
Oh, damn, okay.
Because we knew that the next day we should get the transfer from Kickstarter.
Okay.
So it was like really tight. So like one day we're like literally hitting 0.
Yeah.
And it's like actually withdrawing money to buy some food.
Oh, yeah.
And not a joke.
And it's not like, so you were not US citizens, so it's not like you could max out your credit card or something like that. That's what people do. The cash that you had was the only money that you could use.
And like before that, we spent all of our savings on things. So we had some savings.
Yeah, you sold the company and all that stuff, so you...
Yeah, all of it. But it's like, was not crazy amounts of money. It was like 5-digit amounts of money.
Yeah.
I was like, not even 6-digit.
Right.
So, it was fun time. And now, I came here as a CEO. My goal was to build a network here and fundraise here and understand consumers here. And once the product is ready, to facilitate all the launch and talk to the press and start building the office and and the guys, Andre and Alex, they were kind of in between Kyiv and Shenzhen. We're in Kyiv, Ukraine. We still have a big engineering team. And it's a huge benefit, I think. And any immigrant, if your hometown has some highly educated workforce, be it engineering or design or finance or whatever it is, it's really cool to leverage that and combine that with your global ambition and selling in global markets. I think that's kind of the recipe for success. So, engineering design in Kyiv, maybe like 5 times less expensive than it is here in the Bay Area. So this is a big leverage.
Got it. And because Andre and Alex were already in Ukraine and you were here, so that remote work culture, I'm sure crazy hours, like it's night there, it's day here.
Yeah, well, it's 10 hours difference with Kyiv and 16 hours difference with Shenzhen. So pretty much, I think there's like this 1 hour window when we can connect, which is like 8 a.m. in San Francisco and whatever it is, and it's like 6 p.m. in Kyiv and like 12 a.m. in Shenzhen. So that was when we would connect. three of us, and we would sync a couple times a week. So that was a fun time. And then the biggest goal here was I was realizing, okay, I gotta understand this country because, you know, I've never been to the US before. I was still like a really young kid. I was 23 when I moved. And I was like, okay, like the next probably decade of my life, I'll be definitely doing business here. I want to understand these consumers and making products for them. So like, how different are they? And my biggest surprise was, you know, when I was moving, my expectation was, well, I've been traveling around Europe for a little bit before. So my expectation was, well, the US is probably not that much different from Europe. It's probably, you know, it's like the way Italy is different from Germany, the US is different from Italy. And I realized, no.
The US is a different beast.
It's like, yeah, it's a different planet a little bit. Well, I had an experience with China before. China is also different. Right. So like, okay, I'll put this in a category of different planets, and started kind of connecting with people and kind of learning this. And that was very interesting because you're not very confident even like in your language and like your understanding of reality, and even forget about all the like kind of usual things like figuring out where to live and like routines and all that.
Yeah,
just kind of the environment takes some time to get used to. So yeah, I started going to meetups and conferences.
Right. So and all in the Bay Area. So you landed in San Bruno. You were just not leaving the couch of your friend.
Then I found another friend that were living in San Francisco, and we figured we could share the rent. So basically was living in a room there, and another room was renting a two-bedroom. And I moved to San Francisco, and then San Francisco was the base.
Got it. And how did you, for the first 2 years or so, how did you get in touch with investors? What were those days like in terms of raising capital?
Yeah, it was really, really fun. You know, I was like, I thought that since I read a lot of TechCrunch books, I kind of know how it works. It's like things like that, and it's like I remember a couple of really fun meetings. One I came to the CES Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and I had probably my first meeting with a real VC there.
Right.
It's like an angel investor of ours introduced us, the guys from Boston, and so we were talking, and I pitched my company, and I was like, there was probably like too early for that, and so we keep talking, and he's like, so you know, how do you, what are your plans, like, for how long are you staying in the US? Well, I have just moved.
Right.
He's like, oh, really? Wow, cool. Like, so, like, you already shipped all the stuff? I was like, what's up? I have to speak to these. And he's like, oh, okay, wow. And he, like, smiled, and I didn't quite understand why. So it's definitely, it shows like a difference in perspectives. You know, when you're a young person, there's not much you need to you know, you can be wherever you want.
Right.
And people who you know, have settled lives and families and all that, they view it differently. For them, you know, moving from one city to another, all those options, is a big deal. Right. So that was interesting. Another interesting meeting was here in San Francisco. I think it was Stephanie Palmieri from SoftTech, and I met with her in their offices, and so we speak about business, and explain the pets, all that. And at some point she asked, "Okay, so what's your go-to-market strategy?" Right. And I'm like, what?
What is that?
I had no idea, like this is the industry term, right? So that was really, really funny. And then after that, I figured, okay, I gotta figure these things. that was quite embarrassing. I should have known that. Right. So I read a bunch of other stuff.
Did you find mentors? Like, were you able to find people who could guide you, who can help you learn the language of the valley and startup, so that you know go-to-market strategy before you go to a meeting?
Yes and no. So I mean, we've had some good early angel investors, and we've have some advisors and so on. But it's not like, finding a mentor is something that we can focusing on, or is this something that fixes all of your issues. Essentially, you're going to be competent enough to ask the right questions. And you got to, go on that path of self-education. Whatever works for you. My way was definitely just kind of connect with all the people from the industry, through people I know, but also through going to conferences. I figured early on that meetups were pretty much pointless because on a meetup, you basically, since it's usually like a free to attend event, you get a bunch of people who have nothing to do with their lives.
Right.
And I don't want to be offensive to anyone, but oftentimes, I'd come there and I would see that people who actually have some good knowledge and are good at something would always go to those events. And then I started going more to like bigger conferences that was more meaningful, although the reality is if you are a good and strong startup founder, or if you're a strong VC, or if you're a strong professional in any area, you tend not to waste your time. Right. So you can meet at conferences, you can meet other people who are speakers or are pretty strong, or among attendees, you can meet people usually from larger corporations who are more like chilling there, so to say, but still they might have a really strong knowledge, strong networks, and so on. But they're not like super entrepreneurial and really pushing for it. Or people who are on that stage but are about to become entrepreneurs and just need to dive into a certain area. So I met a bunch of people from all these three groups, and the usual path would be, talk to people, kind of try to understand what we're interested in, and we have common interests. We would maybe go out for a coffee, like schedule, meeting another day, another week, and we talk, tell about my business. We would ask for advice, we would ask what they think, and we usually ask, who are the people you think I should talk to? Got it. And the good thing, people in the Valley are usually really open about it. If they kind of like you, if they think you're doing something meaningful, they're happy to help because it's all this pay-forward culture. So, I was really lucky with all those people, got a bunch of connections, a bunch of good thoughts, a bunch of feedback to my presentation deck, which I would change basically every day or every night. I was like went through, dozens, if not hundreds of iterations. And parallel with that, trying to run the company and so on, definitely might be emotional and taxing, but good times.
I think a lot of people who are not in the Valley are surprised by how much a stranger is willing to help if you set the right tone and if they think that you actually really trying to achieve something, and they can play a small part in getting you closer to your goal.
Yeah, and it's very, I would not recommend like thinking of it from some kind of sales tactics standpoint, because whenever someone is like salesy and pushy, that is being felt, and that is very off-putting. You're like, this salesperson. You don't want to have anything with this person. But if you're really like genuine and passionate about your idea, but also not only about your idea, you're passionate and curious about the world, and you want to learn about what this person is doing, what they're doing, what their challenges, and you think about immediately how you can help with your knowledge, with your network, and so on. Those are kind of interactions that people in the Valley really enjoy. That's what I found. Some silly things is when I would be going to conferences in Kiev, in my hometown. I had some reputation there, be invited as a speaker, to speak about social media or whatever. I know some people. Usually when you go somewhere, a bunch of people there, and they introduce you to other people, and that's easy. Right. Here you come into a new city, you don't know anyone, so you're gonna need some hacks to how do you start conversations. So I would actually try to list like a number of things, like a number of conversation starters, like how do you like the latest speech, or what brings you here, like what do you do, like where's the coffee here, or like oh hey nice shoes. So all of those things might be like pretty much obvious for someone who's a natural salesperson, or good communicator or whatever. Were not as natural for me, so I had to like stop and actually think, okay, what are the ways to start a conversation with a stranger that are not creepy,
right?
So I kind of came up with a list of those things, and those were some of the things I was doing. Another one that we discussed previously, so I have this hobby, I dance.
Yes.
So,
yes. Lindy Hop.
Yeah, swing dancing, exactly. So it's like this so-called social dances like salsa or tango. Where you go to a club with jazz music, and whoever is there is usually a dancer, and you like to dance, and you dance, and it's all improvisational. It's really cool. So I started dancing in Ukraine. I was dancing for a couple of years. It was pretty good. And then was traveling around Europe and competing and all that. So I came here.
You also won competitions.
I won some competitions.
Yeah.
So came here. It's like, of course, I want to go swing dance. Not because I want to network there. Just because, I want to dance. And I went to one of those parties. Actually, the first money I've ever made in the U.S. were through a dancing party. That's really funny. I went to a party, and then this guy comes to me. He's like, "Well, I'm a dancing instructor. We have this gig a couple of weeks from now, and we need a leader. We need a guy, and you seem to be good. We'll pay." I'm like, "Sure."
It's so funny. I kind of think about like Airbnb guys did some hacks for initial money. You went dancing and you went competitions. How you can survive. No, that's awesome. I think that's the first I've heard someone's first money as a startup founder is through dancing competition.
Yeah, that's unique. I agree. I met a bunch of really good people there. I don't think there was anything that resulted in anything like professional related, but it's really you're not focusing on like you don't have to focus on just professional related. Your goal in your new city is to get accustomed to it. Get a feel and get an understanding of people. So I think that played a big role in me. Understand this place.
Cool. So those 2 years you participated in dance competitions, won a lot of money, and a little bit of money, and now you applied to YC and you got it.
Even before when we applied to YC, we already were making like $2 million in revenue.
Oh, okay.
We already had like 30 people on the team. We raised about $4 million in venture funding. So we were accepted to YC at a pretty late stage, later than median company, I guess.
Okay, so and the money that you raised was all mostly in the US. The 4 million
was all around the world. It was both in the US and in Ukraine and Europe.
And how was the team divided back when you were 30 people, and now I don't know how many people you are, but how do you manage the team between US and Ukraine, and how does Andre and Alex sort of spend time between SF and
that's a good question. So it's it's sales and marketing is here, maybe some of performance marketing is in Ukraine as well, or design team is in Ukraine as well. All the engineering is in Ukraine. All the kind of operations, finance is in Ukraine. Some of the customer support for like the second line is in Ukraine. The first line is in the Philippines. And then the manufacturing related part is in China. So it's all kind of wherever it makes sense,
And in the US, you only have offices in San Francisco, or
in San Francisco. So I guess that's how we manage it, and just because it's in the company's DNA to be able to work across the time zones, it's pretty easy. So people travel time to time to see each other and so on. But it's usually every manager has weekly one-on-ones with everyone on their team. Plus, in every team there is a weekly sync-up. So, for example, I'm a CEO. I manage the team of top executives. We're like 6 people on that team. So we would have one call per week where everyone goes, 5 minutes goes through what's going on their team, on their direction, and what they're planning to do next week. And this way, everyone gets a view across the company what's going on. And then I have one-on-ones with each person on that team every week. So we have time to speak about the challenges we have and like the goals and so on and so on. So we do some metrics, so we do some work that give feedback, ask questions and so on. And then there are ad hoc syncs calls wherever they are needed, or sometimes there might be interdepartmental scheduled calls, once every week or once every 2 weeks. And once a month we have all hands where we basically connect both offices and we can talk. And that works pretty well for us.
So when you moved here back in 2013, 2014, what were how did you navigate the initial visa situation?
Yeah.
What visa?
The easiest kind of visa was to get was B1, B2, and this visa allows you to stay here for about half a year, and does not allow you to work, but allows you to work in a Ukrainian company while doing some work with stuff needed and so on here. Right. So that's what we used, and then we used the app. Then we basically went to. I had to go to student visa.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why we did that, I think we didn't have the money to hire a lawyer to do the O1. so I made the decision. Okay, I'll be just like a student here. And I applied for the cheapest English language school I could find, where I would go for a couple of classes per week. And being here on student whatever was J1.
J1, yeah.
So I got that. Maybe there was some other reason. I don't remember, because I remember the lawyer was involved in that.
Okay.
So I got that and was able to stay here for longer, and then the next goal was to get the O1. So return to Ukraine to do that, got my O1, and got back here.
Got it.
Since that time, I'm on O1. And O1, I think, is a kind of good solution if you're a startup founder. It's a pretty easy way to get it. And whatever will cost you maybe like $4,000 in legal fees. Right. But then you can get it, and all the founders got it. And since then, we are on that visa.
And essentially, how long have you been on over the past 5 years?
About that, about 4 or 5 years. So they usually give it to you for 3 years, and then you have 3 years.
And Petcube, the company that you're working for, has to file it.
Yes.
So the visa is also associated with the company.
Yes.
And it's not like you can do anything kind of.
Yes. So if you, for example, if you need to start working for another company, then there's some process there. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So you actually have to just transfer your O1, and it's a new application. We did the same thing. We were on H1Bs, and then we...
And H1Bs are actually, you have to win those,
Yeah, so we won the lottery.
Yeah.
We won the lottery. And when I applied for H1B, my chances were 1 in 4. So I was like, I wasn't sure if I'm going to stay in the US, and that was when I was working for a company called Pop Sugar. So I got my H1B, and when we applied for O1, we did it in premium. And we got that in, I think, 4 days or something. So pretty quickly. And we did that after YC, after we got into YC. And then we applied for
Gave you the confidence.
Yeah. Otherwise, because we can't do a company on H1B, you can't stay jobless without, if you're jobless, you can't be on H1B. So there were a lot of issues that we had to navigate too. And that's I don't know about you, and I'd be interested in learning specifically about this issue. Some people, when we went to raise money from them, they're like, "You're on H-1B. We will only give you money if you're working on it full time."
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and we couldn't work on it full time because we didn't have the right type of visa, so it was a catch-22 situation for many months for us. Yeah, and that's kind of a different dimension of risk that immigrant founders especially face, because people are not sure if they're going to stay in the U.S. Or you could stay in the U.S. to start a company.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Cool. So you've been doing it for now 7 or so years.
7-ish years.
7-ish years. And you moved from another country, like started completely fresh. What kind of advice would you give to other potential founders or people thinking about companies who are especially immigrants and thinking of navigating this big tech world?
Yeah, like advice about
starting a company, finding.
Should you start a company or not?
Yeah, we are assuming people would want to start companies.
If you're asking that question, you should.
Yeah, totally. You're in a world of pain otherwise. But like, let's say people people want to start companies, but they don't know where to start. They have no background in starting companies. They have no network. How do they think about it? What kind of first steps they can take towards actually?
I think what basically in anything you do, a good idea would be to talk to someone who's done that before.
Right.
So talking to other entrepreneurs really helps, and talking to someone who went through a path that you're about to go really helps. So maybe for some people watching this conversation, it's something like kind of talking to. So I'm trying to imagine, one of the questions people like that would ask. Whenever I talk to aspiring entrepreneurs and meet these people all the time, usually schedule Saturdays. Saturdays is my day of advice, or whatever it is. Sometimes the best advice I can give them is rethink what is the company they want to start. So if someone got a niche to start a company, it's most likely they will start it, but they still have a chance to choose what kind of company they're going to start, where. And some ideas are just much better than the others, and not even ideas, I should say, some spaces, some markets are much better than the others. And if someone comes to me with an idea, and I know that there's lots of stuff being done, and there's crazy war going on there, and lots of big companies with a lot of money struggling really hard to do something, going into that war is pretty much a disaster, and I would not recommend doing that. But I could try to guide the entrepreneur to where the areas where there's not as much competition, where there's not as much innovation, where you can really make a difference and contribute, and where you can see the path and where your expertise is and so on. So thinking hard about what kind of company you want to start and where you will actually have good chances and where will be actually meaningful and something that you would enjoy doing, I think that's a really important thing that any entrepreneur should do. And then, if your decision is to move to the US from another country, why would someone be doing that? Well, probably because their market is here, or maybe because some unique talent is here. But some people do this just because they want to move and live in the US, or people like that. So those are all kind of different reasons, and someone wants to live in the US and then moves to New York and realizes it's really cold. Right. So we'll try to do it in a phased approach. You come, you try, you start, you see if it works, it doesn't,
right.
And you move there.
What are your thoughts on working at a growing startup, like still young enough, but growing startup before you actually jump in and start a company? Suggest people do that so they get a sense of what it is like, and it's not just writing code. People don't realize a lot of it is sales, and a lot of it is actually
lots of things they have never thought of.
Right.
They have never imagined, they've never done, and maybe they're not good at, and they'll have to learn a ton of new things. So when we were starting a company, for us, one of the we sat down with my co-founders and discussed kind of the values why we want to do this. And like one is kind of very ego-driven. When you make a change to the world and you make something that millions of other people use, you in some ways improve their lives. That is very satisfying. Especially for us, we work with physical products and we work with pets. So there's lots of passion and love around all of that. So that was kind of one thing. Another big thing for us was, early on, we thought that we would most likely not succeed because statistically, most of the startups do not succeed.
Right.
We never had any experience with hardware. We never had any experience with consumer products. We never had any experience with the American market. We never raised any VC money before. And we were 23-year-old dudes.
Right. From Ukraine.
So based on that, we have estimated that the chances of us succeeding are less than 50%.
Yeah. 50% is like generous.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Likely we will not succeed.
Yeah.
So if that would be higher than 50%, we would more likely to succeed. Since we're definitely I would say it's like below 10%. But anyhow, our thinking was, well, at least we will learn a lot.
Yes.
So that kind of passion for learning things and trying to make it happen was a big driving factor for us. So what was your question about it?
Yeah, so I mean, essentially, things that founders should think about before they jump into starting companies.
Yeah. So for us, the idea that we learn a lot, that was a good motivating factor, I guess. And then
pick the right co-founders. I think that's you should know the people. You don't just not meet someone in person and then decide to start a company with them. Like it's you need
that would be a more riskier thing.
Yeah, that reduces your chances of success even 50%.
Yeah, but hey, look, you gotta work on that. So there's this really nice story of us being really close to closing the company. It was after maybe half a year of working on it, still in Kiev.
Oh, okay.
And we were really struggling to find a factory to manufacture our devices, and we were kind of fooled by a couple people who would say they provide our services, and we just would be just assholes. So we were really sad about those experiences, and Alex and I were really kind of heartbroken. We'd meet in this cafe, and Alex and I would start talking about how we're it looks like this is a really difficult task, and most likely it will not work out. So it's more difficult than we can handle, and we probably should stop. And Andre was after New Year's. Andre was just looking at us and was silent. He's like, "Are you guys crazy?" And he pulls out a business card holder out of his pocket, which is shaped as our logo. It's a hexagon and made out of leather, and it has the business card, hexagon-shaped business cards in it. It's really a beautiful piece of design. And he said, I hand-suited 6 of these, so that only top executives of the company have them. And now you say, and when you put that on the table, immediately, the room changed the color, right? And we're like, yeah, we're gonna do this, yes. So that was a really good example of how the differences within the founders, within the team, right, basically saved the company. Literally, no kidding. If that moment didn't happen, that we would just close the company right there. If Andre would say, yeah, guys, you're right, but only because he was an independent thinker, and Alex and I would have computer science background. Andre would be kind of passionate and kind of design and poet and kind of liberal arts education, and he saw things differently.
Yeah,
and that's why the company exists.
Managing psychology.
And many stories like that.
That's pretty cool. Any last things you wanna?
Yeah, well, in terms of advice for new founders that are coming out here, I think you got to be really passionate about what you do and curious and all that. But do your homework and definitely. If you're just starting a company, if you think this is a good way to make money, everyone says this is that way. I can confirm this is one of the least efficient ways. If you basically calculate the mathematical expectation of the amount of money you can make, the probability that you make something on whatever you can make, you'll end up with a pretty small amount. So you probably will be better off doing something else. But if you have a real drive to make something that other people enjoy, and if you're genuinely curious about learning, and if the fact that you will be challenged by the fact that you do not only need to code, but you need to learn how to do market research and understand what the consumers want, and understand how to speak to consumers, and how to sell, and how to talk to investors, and how to work with financials, and know what the P&L is, and what is the GAAP is, and so on and so forth, and figure out HR, and figure out how you're going to retain your best employees, and figure out what leadership is, and all of those things. If you feel passionate about that, and not so much maybe passionate about just coding itself, then it's probably the right route, because you will learn a lot, you will probably become a more interesting, more diverse person, you will meet super, super interesting people on your way. It's definitely worth it. I think for immigrants, my definition of strategy is about how do you win using your unique advantage. Any kind of strategy, be it a sports game, be it a war, or be it your life strategy or company strategy. So as immigrants, every person comes with their own background. So your strength is always in your background, is in the way that you're different from the others. And I think, there's lots of opportunity in today's world, given all the development of communication methods and kind of the common culture field we have created through like Facebook and YouTube and so on. There's lots of opportunity to do really high quality products in like local markets, but sell them globally. And I mean, first of all, like digital technological products, software, and so on. And if you do that, basically your cost of production is much lower than if you have a full team here in the States, and then your revenues or the amount of capital that's available for you are on the global scale. So you have advantage there, and the challenge is usually on the product side. So if you are selling to the US consumer, or Chinese consumer, or any kind of consumer from a big market where you were not raised and you don't really know those consumers, being very intimately close to those consumers and having that product manager or product owner feel is super important. It's super important for CEO of any company. It's not like replaceable. It's not like, oh, we will hire like a VP of product and he'll fix it for us. No, never. CEO is always like the main product person. So that's one of the areas where I would focus on for sure. And usually people within local markets have, I would say from my experience, there rarely can be amazing product managers. So you introduce on themselves. So you're going to spend time to really understand your consumer and create products. So that I guess those are just some thoughts.
Cool. No, yes. Thank you. Those were pretty specific and actionable that people advice that people can use. So thanks for talking to us, and best of luck for the future.
Sure, my pleasure. Best of luck for everyone starting new companies.
Okay, thanks guys. Bye.
Thank you.